As trade union federation Cosatu should guard against what he called corporate capture. He was addressing delegates on the second day of the Cosatu elective Congress in Midrand. Also during the Congress, Nzimande hit out at those who, he said, want to drive a wedge between the SACP and the country's biggest trade union federation. He's also demanded an end to factionalism and the buying of votes within the tripartite alliance. Well, Mbongeni Mutwa has been covering the Cosatu elective Congress. He joins us now. Mbongeni, good afternoon. I suppose the very significant agenda point today is the tabling of Cosatu's financial report this afternoon. Why is that so important?
Well, Devin, it's very important because since the expulsion of NUMSA late last year, there has been a lot of talk and reporting that Cosatu is not in an ideal financial state because, of course, NUMSA was one of the biggest contributors in terms of subscription fees. So that report that will be tabled later, we expect it will shed a very clear picture as to exactly what is the state of Cosatu finances and what the leadership plans to do to plug the gap that has been left by NUMSA. But right now, I am honored and I have the pleasure to be joined by the man who is destined to replace Ntshalintshali as the General Secretary of Cosatu, the man who has the unenviable task of rebuilding Cosatu, perhaps to becoming, the giant federation that it once was, and that is Mr. Bheki Ntshalintshali. Mr. Ntshalintshali, thank you very much for your time. Of course, yesterday we saw the mood was very heightened and everything. Today, the mood is changed. It's nice here. You're not going to be contested, and people are focusing on issues. You must be very happy as the leadership as to how the conference is going right now.
Indeed, we are very happy that at least now we have passed those hurdles of yesterday, which regarding the credentials. We went through that particular process. As painful as it was, we have to agree to take time and allow people to cough after whatever they have. Today, the mood has changed. Workers are singing together. Workers are talking as comrades. They understand. I think they understand the task ahead. They've listened carefully what the ANC president said yesterday. They listened carefully what the Cosatu president said. They listen carefully to the message of support from the party and Sanko. And I think from the few speeches that made this morning, I think they realized that one of their weakest, one of their enemies will be the division among themselves, and the strength lies in unity.
Now, coming to you, a lot of people believe or they feel that Vavi's shoes may be too big for you to fill. You are smaller in stature, you are soft-spoken, you're not as loud as him. People don't know much about you in the trade union movement. Are Vavi's shoes too big for you to fill?
Look, I think there's no Vavi's shoes, so somebody will have to wear your own shoes. I mean, our popular General Secretary was Jay Naidu. When he left, I think people could not give Sam Shilowa any chance. He came as a Deputy General Secretary. He did his work in an excellent way. When Sam Shilowa left, he was kind of charisma himself. Nobody gave Vavi a chance. So I don't think it should be a question of being asked now whether Vavi is irreplaceable. There's nobody who is irreplaceable.
Now, you have a big mountain to climb here. The job of rebuilding Cosatu falls squarely on your shoulders. You have Vavi outside currently mobilizing to form a rival trade union federation. So you're going to have to come up head-to-head against him. Are you ready for the task?
Indeed, we have to comply with our resolution, with our commitment to build Cosatu. And the motto that drives most of us is that when we are given an organization, you find it in a particular state. When you leave that organization, it must be better than when you find it. So that's the motto of have a quest to be successful in doing your work. Do it honestly. It's going to be difficult times. Economically, workers are facing massive challenges, so it might not have been the right time, but there will never be a right time in a struggling. All the struggles are difficult, but we are confident that as a collective, with the leadership of unions, because the most work has to be done at an affiliate level. That's where members are.
lastly and briefly, rebuilding the finances of Cosatu. NUMSA, we were told they were contributing like 2 million rand a month to Cosatu. That income stream is gone. How do you plug the gap?
NUMSA was contributing about a million rand a month. We have debated these issues with unions. We agreed, for an example, that we need to look to our financial prudence. We went to an office that was unaffordable to us. For rent and electricity in that office is 500,000. We're paying 1 million in terms of the rentals. So we have to cut our cloth, according to our cloth, and we have to be able to say where we need to make safe. But of course we have to grow, we have to be smart. And the union have agreed to say the sustainability of Cosatu is their role. As we speak now, we have agreed in terms of our budget for next year, which has not been in the past. We normally agree on our budget around February. This time unions came back and said, we don't want the Cosatu to fail on the basis that it does not have some financial support to. So we're ready, I think we're ready.
Mr. Ntshalintshali, thank you very much for your time and good luck on the challenge ahead.
Thank you. We need luck. Thank you very much.
Well, Devin, there you have it. Just a quick bit of information maybe that you didn't know about Mr. Ntshalintshali. Mr. Ntshalintshali was a leader of SEPAU for 15 years between 1985 and 2000 when he became Vavi's General Secretary, when Vavi took over as General Secretary of Cosatu. And he's been there with Vavi for the past 15 years that Vavi has been the face and the voice of Cosatu. How he will fare in this big position, of course, remains to be seen. It's back to you.
All right, fair enough. Mogeni Mutwa there doing his thing at the Cosatu elective conference, speaking to the leadership. We'll have more on this story in our later bulletins. A break now, and when we come back, more business. Stay with us.